Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm just gonna set this camera down. I have a bit of a confession to make. It's not like I can hide it anyway. You notice there's a hut there. In the last video, I thought my camera was recording while I was explaining how to make that hut. And then it turns out that I was talking to myself. Yay! So basically what that is, it's a bit of yellow ochre, titanium white, some gray and black, and kind of blending it in. I will be also defining that a little bit more later on. But because it's far away, it's going to be a little bit lighter, and then as we approach here, we're going to have some darker kind of images, but of course we don't want to compensate the sunny beach setting. So maybe in the future I will have, and again based on demand, I will have other videos explaining how to make huts, patios, barns and things like that. They're kind of the same idea. And it's really about shading and blending colors in, different tones and textures. Okay, now we're going to go on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have like a bit of a lilac tree here, but before I do that, I'm going to continue and have a bit of a patio extension to this hotel. Now you'll see that I do have the white, but what I'm going to do with this hotel, as it gets closer this way, the tones kind of are more defined. Okay. Now I'm going to put a little bit of linseed oil here because I find that the paint is not as smooth as I'd like it to be. So anytime that happens, you just add a little bit of linseed oil. And it's kind of like a degreaser, you know, it works to better blend in the colors and textures and whatnot. Now I got a bit of a gray going here, and that's not exactly what I want. There we go. So with this brush, it's a thin brush. I'm working to get more of the detail in, okay, because we're getting closer to the painting. And you know, this is pretty spontaneous because sometimes like I'll put something in and then I find as I get closer to an image, you know, maybe I don't want a tree there per se, and I prefer maybe a stand of sorts, or maybe a chair, or depending on what, you know, it looks more pleasing to the eye. Okay. So we'll continue with that. And you'll see that you could, if you come up closer, you could see the brush strokes on this property. If you want, you can leave them in there, and that gives more like definition of the actual building, and you know, the cement and stonework and whatnot. So, or it's really a preference again. And maybe we'll have a round structure here. Just this. Okay, so again, I'm making some executive decisions as the angle of this, the rooftop of this hotel is going to look like. Okay, and again, that really depends on what you want in there. Maybe you can have a little bit of a veranda going. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start mixing some yellow ochre with that maple that I talked about earlier. Okay. And that way you'll see more of the tones as we get closer this way, because the sun is coming that way. So okay, so you'll see it's very subtle. Okay, and it is going to get darker, so bear with me here. You'll be able to see more of what the structure actually looks like. We'll probably do this again, so you have another kind of a rooftop. Okay, just like that. Now, because we're getting closer here, the reason why I'm doing this light is because I want to make it so that it's a really sunny day, and you do that by the objects. You don't actually put, you know, how in grade school they taught you to draw the sun with the rays going that way. It doesn't quite go like that. You get the sun by shading in structures around it. Okay, and you got to remember one thing when you're painting. Another tip here: where there is dark, there's no light. Okay, you see how that light jumps out? It's because I have dark here now. This is not quite finished. I'm going to be defining these a little bit later, but you know, I put the dark right beside the light, and that kind of enhances the presence of light. Okay, now around maybe say here, I'm going to go with the raw sienna. Okay, so we're going to go a little bit darker. Okay, and what we're going to do here, this is going to be like a patio again, with wooden cedar-like panels. Okay, I'm going to sit on my chair here, that way you could see the painting. So again, with raw sienna, I'm just repeating what I mentioned earlier. Okay, we're going to have now, because the view's going that way, we're seeing the top of this thing. and potentially gets darker as it gets more closer that way, because we have this hut kind of blocking some of the sunlight. So, and you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. You'll see in painting, we don't look at geometry or symmetry and exact angles. It's a freehand expression, right? So it's pretty much null that these would have any kind of symmetry to